Hello and welcome back to Wyoming Watch from the Wyoming Tribune Eagle. I'm Noah Zahn, your state government reporter here. This week, we're sharing a conversation that I had with Jason Sanchez, who is the department head of the City of Cheyenne's Community Recreation and Events, which oversees a handful of divisions across town. Our conversation was about some of the projects that his team is working on, and including some of the sixpenny sales tax priorities that he has throughout the next year. We'll get straight into it. Here's that conversation that I had with Jason now. All right, so now I'm here with Jason Sanchez, the city's Community Recreation and Events Director. Thanks for coming and joining us here on Wyoming Watch.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and so there's a couple of things I wanted to chat with you about for this. There's a lot of different things that you oversee in the city, so I guess for background, could you quickly just kind of describe what you do and maybe some of the aspects of the city that you oversee?
Absolutely. So I'm the director of Community Rec and Events. We're a pretty large department. We have 12 divisions in our department. So our aquatics division, botanic garden, cemetery, our urban forestry, golf, ice and events, parks, programs and facilities, our recreation, weed and pest, civic center, clean and safe, and then the admin. So like I said, 12 divisions, a lot of people, and a pretty large budget, and a lot of responsibility.
So there's a couple of different things I wanted to chat with you about. I guess the first thing was something I had been wanting to talk to you about a while ago, but it kind of fell off my radar, about the Freedom's Point, memorial that's planned. Mm-hmm. I think you guys announced around April. Yep. At Lions Park. Can you tell me a bit about what that is and what your role is in that?
Sure. So this actually started about 2 years ago. We had received a phone call from Alf and Miss Sally with the Veterans Remembrance Foundation, and they reached out to the city and wanted to know if they were able to fundraise to bring a replica of the Vietnam Memorial Wall. Would we have a place to place it and be a permanent placement for it? So about probably 2 times in the past, we had brought a traveling replica of the Vietnam Memorial Wall. We put it in Lions Park, so that area lent itself well for that replica. So we kind of identified that same area for that placement if they were able to do the fundraising to get it here. About a year later, I get a phone call from a group called Compass of Honor, and they had an idea of doing some type of remembrance for veterans, doing all the different branches of the military, doing a display, and they had a couple different areas in mind. And so I just said, I don't know that those are the best areas, and it also adds more maintenance to our team if we move these all around town. So let's kind of revisit, see if there's a better location. Simultaneously get a call from Leadership Cheyenne. They have an idea. They want to do a remembrance for our first responders, for our Desert Storm, War on Terror, and I said, hey, let's pull the 3 groups together. Let's figure out an area that might work for all of this. And so we sat and talked to everybody, and we identified the area just south of the pickleball courts in Lions Park as the area for this type of remembrance. And if we could combine all 3 ideas, it could be a pretty special spot. So I hired Matthew Whipple with DHM to do a conceptual plan for us by bringing all those ideas together. So we have a concept, and now we're all out fundraising, trying to get the funds necessary to build that Freedom Point.
Okay, and you said just south of the pickleball courts. I saw some of the renderings for this. I don't know exactly. Is it kind of on that southeast corner of the park there, where there's that big grass field where the road goes around? Not the
so
road, the
8th Avenue and Central, right in that area. And so it's a big bluegrass area, right? And I've been with the city and with the Parks Department for almost 30 years now, and I can tell you that area doesn't get utilized a lot. It gets utilized sometimes, but when we talk about water conservation too, it's a irrigated bluegrass. So by transitioning and doing this Freedom Point in there, we could reduce some of the bluegrass that we have, reduce some of our water usage, and it's a good use of that space. And so I felt that was a good area. It lent itself well. We have parking nearby. We could add a little bit of parking as well as reducing some of our water use.
Mm-hmm. And you talked about, working on fundraising now going forward. It sounds like that Vietnam Memorial Wall is being donated by this other family?
So there's a group, the Veterans Remembrance Group, that is out fundraising to purchase that Vietnam Memorial. And it's an 80% replica, so it's not the exact same size as the one we have in Washington, but it's a 375 feet long. So it'll be right to the west of the path that we have that runs from 8th Avenue into the park. And so I believe, and we actually have a meeting tomorrow with the entire group, but I believe they're close to meeting their goal to making that purchase.
Okay, and the rest of it is funded by another organization, or where does the city's funding play into this? Is it all going to be donated, or is there any?
So that's what they're working on. So Leadership Cheyenne is hosting an event later this year where they'll fundraise for their portion of this. So tributes for Desert Storm, the fallen first responders, and then the Compass of Honor group is fundraising for like the Soldier's Cross and all the bronzes that would be in the middle, the focal point. We're selling bricks, so people could have, if you wanted to buy a brick for a service member, and they could have their name and their branch and their rank engraved on it, and those would all get placed on the ground. And so that's a way to do some of the fundraising.
So at this point, it's hard to say how much funds will come directly from the city. It's just see how the fundraising goes first, and then play it by ear from there.
Correct.
Yeah. And do you have a timeline on that?
So I have an ambitious goal. I'm hoping that we, with all the groups working together, like I said, it's my understanding that Alpha and Miss Sally are pretty close to meeting their goal for the Vietnam Memorial Wall. That would be the first step. But hopefully we'd have all the fundraising completed and we're able to have this project completed by May of next year. Again, it's an ambitious goal, but I feel with the momentum and the folks that they're all talking to, I hope that we're able to get that done.
Another thing I want to talk to you about, I think maybe the last time we chatted, it was about the Spiker parking structure downtown. I guess downtown business owners have had concerns about the safety of it and it being underutilized and taking up street parking. A couple of different factors, but ultimately people want it to be more utilized to make it feel safer and open up more parking downtown. Is that accurate, would you say?
You're accurate. I've heard the same comments, and so the clean and safe team is under our watch. So trying to keep everything clean and safe, right? So their office is located in the Spiker garage on the second floor. We want people to feel safe while they're in there. So over the course of the last few years, we secured some funding through a grant, but the rest of the funding that we're utilizing is from the Downtown Sixpenny Improvement Fund that the taxpayers voted in support of to bring $6 million to make some improvements in the downtown area. With those funds, we renovated the restrooms at the Spiker garage. I lowered the lights about 8 inches. So we brought in LED lights, and they're a higher lumen, so it's brighter. Then we lowered them because there are trusses in the building that were blocking the lights, so it couldn't disperse very far. So we lowered them. We put in emergency call stations on all 4 of the floors so that if somebody had an emergency, they hit a button. The 911 dispatch would know exactly where they are in the garage, so it tells us if they're on the first floor northeast corner or the first floor southeast corner, and it would dispatch police to those areas. They also have cameras on them, so we could see you hit that button, we could see what's happening. So we did that, painted all the parking stalls. The building's still pretty dark, right? With the design of the building, it doesn't let a lot of sunlight in, so we're in the process of painting it white. We've completed the painting on the 4th and the 3rd floor. We're transitioning now down into the 2nd floor. Our contractor is going to start working at night, so they're going to start at 7 p.m. and work till about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to reduce the impact that we have on the folks parking in there. But I could tell you, just between the 1st and 2nd floor and seeing the paint on the 3rd and 4th floor, it is incredibly brighter. It made a substantial difference. And so again, it's perception, right? If it's bright, the lights are all working, everything's easily identifiable. The perception is that it would be safer. I don't know that there is a lot of crime that takes place in there. That's the police department that could report that data. I just listen to what the community says, and I try to make some of the changes that they're requesting. I'm also adding speed bumps through that parking structure because some of the folks that are in there are speeding through there quickly, and so we're going to add some speed bumps. Anything I could do to try to make that building more utilized and feel safer, that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and all those changes that you just described, how long have those been? What is the timeline of when did you start implementing those? How long has that been?
The first was changing the lights from the incandescent to an LED and a higher, brighter lumen. I think we did that about 3 years ago. We put in the emergency call stations 2 years ago, painting it right now, parking stall painting, all of those things. I'm also adding parking spaces for the fire department, the police department. I'm going to put in some compact vehicle parking spaces, so to make it a little bit easier to navigate going in, reduce the larger trucks on the corners, put compact vehicles so that when people are making turns from floor to floor, it's easier to navigate. So it's a work in progress, and as well, and the restroom renovation was last year. We completed that. So a lot of improvements to that facility. We want people to utilize the facility, and so we're doing everything we can to make it feel safe.
Yeah, and another thing that I can't remember if it was a few months ago or even a year ago, but all the discussions about bringing paid parking to downtown and potentially adjusting the rates at the parking structure. I'm not sure if that's exactly your scope, but do you think the rates there play a role in that as well?
You're right. That's more in the police department. They're the ones who, and the council sets the rate, and then the police administer the parking passes and the fines. I don't know, to be perfectly honest with you, what would make people want to use it or that prevents them or prohibits them from using it. I just do all I can to make sure that I listen to what people say and what they would like to see, and that's what I try to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the last thing about that, have you already seen improvements on usage there, or are you collecting data on that, or is that police department? Or
That's police department.
Okay.
One thing I did fail to mention is that a lot of the complaints I received was from the folks utilizing the fourth floor, that they were camping out up there, youth or just people causing mischief. So we did put gates up.
Okay.
So for the majority of the week, we keep that fourth floor closed. I open it for parking for Fridays on the Plaza or for like the Cheyenne Frontier Days, the parades and pancake breakfast. But to prevent some of that or to reduce some of that activity, we put gates up there.
Mm-hmm. And I remember at one point you talked about potential gates on the entrance and exit portals, I guess.
Yeah,
Is that something still in the works?
So there was chat, and we did some research on arms. So if you went in, you'd get a ticket, the arm goes up, let you park. But with us having 2 hours of free parking anyway, right now that doesn't seem like a prudent move to add arms, at $100,000 when we already offer free parking for 2 hours. If it was paid parking the entire time, that would make more sense. Mm-hmm. So all the other things that we're doing, I hope reduces the speeding and the perception that it's not a safe facility. And, we'll go step by step sequentially. If I need to add arms next, then we'll do that. Mm-hmm. But I think all the things that we've done have made an impact. I think it's a better facility. It looks cleaner, and for me, we talk about this with our team all the time. It's that eye for detail, right? So if there's vandalism and we have a bunch of different gray blotches to cover it, now it's all white. We have one color. We'll keep it looking nice and clean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess the final thing I'll ask you about that is, what are the measures for success on that? Is it just usage? Is it just collecting data on that?
I think so. I think the data and then usage, like you said, the data being from the police department. Do we have crimes in there? Mm-hmm. Are they having to respond to different things? I think that's going to be a key factor. And again, now as we're talking, I'm remembering another thing. We also have this last year hired a security company that goes through the evening hours, 10 p.m. till about 4 a.m., patrolling that, and they send us pictures through the night of all the things that they observe. So again, we're taking many steps to try to curb bad behavior in the facility and encourage people to park there.
Mm-hmm. Move on to this before we close out. I wanted to talk about six-penny funds.
Sure. Last
night at the city council meeting, I know that they just started discussing six-penny funds. One of the items was, I think, allocating $3.5 million to Cheyenne leads for economic development items. And I know there was a work session held a few weeks ago for potential use of six-penny funds for the Johnson Pool or for Greenway maintenance and expansion. I guess for you, what are your priorities with the use of these funds?
Okay, so what we're presenting right now are potential projects that would go on the six-penny. So the council's going to hear all of the ideas or the proposals that people have for potential projects. And then they're going to have to figure out which projects advance and get placed on the ballot. There's going to be a certain dollar amount that the city gets, the county gets, as far as the tax itself. Usually it's around $100 million, maybe a little bit more. So they have to thoroughly vet which projects will go on the ballot. So on July 11th, I presented the reconstruction of a new outdoor pool, Johnson Pool. In the last six-penny, the voters voted in support of spending $250,000 to design a new pool. The current Johnson Pool is 71 years old. It has exceeded its lifespan. We did all we can to keep it up and running over the years, but the shell is leaking, and I think we're at a point where we're going to have to close it down. So we presented the new design. We went through that process. We had it completed in October, so we have a cost estimate for a new pool. We have an estimate that shows if it's enclosed, meaning we have a roof over the top that can open or be retractable. And we also have a cost if it is completely open to the outdoor like the current pool is. So we're going to let the council will have to make that decision if that's one of the projects they want to advance or place on the ballot. The second item we presented was on greenway maintenance and greenway expansion. We currently have a little over 48 miles of greenway that we maintain. Multiple tunnels, bridges, lights, all of the amenities along the greenway, and all of the maintenance is currently funded through the six-penny. And so if we don't have the maintenance funds, then we're going to have to figure out how it would be maintained in the future, as well as the future expansion. There are still areas that we're trying to connect in town, and so I think the total ask for both city greenway maintenance, county greenway maintenance, because there's greenway in the county as well. And then with expansion, I believe it was $7 million. So again, the council's going to have to decide, is that a project that they want to advance? And then the community votes on those things.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously those are two projects that you oversee. Do you think they should be advanced, or do you think there's other priorities that the city has?
I don't know what the other projects are at the moment, so I'd have to wait. I believe that we're going to have some fire stations that that are going to be proposed, and obviously those are of high importance, but I don't know what the other projects are at the moment. So my job was to figure out what it would cost to replace Johnson, and then to also present what our needs would be for the greenway. So far that's what the two projects I've presented.
And are those, I haven't been following it as closely, are those the only two projects that have been presented other than the Cheyenne Leads one last night, or the resolution that was submitted, I guess?
Right. So those are the only two that have been presented. I believe this Friday there's a work session with the police department for their six-penny project proposals. But those will be the first three that I've heard of.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's about all I had for you. I'm not sure if there's more that you had that, I know you oversee a lot of things. Is there anything else that you wanted to chat about that you want people to know about?
I wasn't sure what to expect today. I didn't know what you wanted to discuss. I can tell you we have a lot of projects going. Our department, I'm very proud of all of our staff. They work hard all the time. We just recently, I'll list a few projects that we've completed and maybe some projects that we have coming up, just so that your listeners are aware. But this year we replaced the synthetic turf at Pioneer Park. We just finished the phase 1 renovation at the depot, and so that outdoor on the southern exterior, we did a landscape out there, and that's been a huge success. People are utilizing that quite a bit. We built a cafe inside the depot, renovated the restrooms, and now we're working on the second phase of that project, which would be to repoint the exterior, do some repair to the windows, some concrete work on the plaza, and do some renovation on the second and third floor office areas. We recently installed a playground over at Optimus Park. We put some concrete in along all of Lincoln Park. We're building new restrooms and concessions at Dutcher. We're in the process of designing new restrooms and concessions for Dunbar. It's the softball, baseball field at Lions Park. We're putting in new lights on 4 fields at Dutcher. And a lot of this is through grants, grant funding and grant match funding. We are working with the state to do some improvements at the Arboretum, on the greenhouse, lath house, and head house. We're actively working on Fridays on the Plaza. We have 3 Fridays to go. We've had a great season so far, and we're down to our last 3 shows. We do all of our shows at the Civic Center. We're We got painting in parking lots going on. We just concluded Super Day. We're fixing the airport fountain. We have rooting in Cheyenne coming up again this fall. Concrete going in at Myler Park. We're on a project right now down Windmill Road replacing concrete for that Greenway connection from Powers Field to Brimmer. So we have projects going almost every direction across town. But just wanted to share that with you. Things we have on the horizon. Again, we're replacing the boiler at the Aquatic Center. We're putting lights in at Dutcher. We're replacing some of the backfield at Dunbar. In drainage project we have going on at North Cheyenne Community Park. We should be wrapping that up this fall. We'll be replacing a concrete path in Lions Park from 8th Avenue up to the pickleball courts. And we're replacing carpet at the Ice and Event Center. Replacing the lighting and upgrading our lighting to our orchestra shell at the Civic Center. And yeah, those are a lot of the projects we have going on.
Sounds like you've got a few things on your plate.
Absolutely.
But, yeah. Great. Well, like I said, I appreciate you coming in and taking some time to chat with us. If people want to learn more, just CheyenneCity.org.
CheyenneCity.org or jsanchez at CheyenneCity.org.
Great. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
We usually bring you a roundup of some of the events coming up here in Cheyenne and Laramie County this week, but our arts and entertainment reporter Taylor Staples is out sick this week. So if you want to find those, you can find that on our calendar at wyomingnews.com. Now, real quick before we close today, here's a recap of some of our top stories and headlines from the past week. After a few hours of deliberation, a 12-person jury found Joseph Gish not guilty on all charges related to a fatal stabbing incident. Joseph was arrested in December after getting into a physical altercation with his estranged wife's 55-year-old boyfriend. The family of an airman who died on duty at F.E. Warren Air Force Base has called for a discontinuance of the M18 firearm involved in his death. Airman Braden Lovin, a 21-year-old defender assigned to the 90th Security Forces Squadron, died July 20th in relation to a firearm discharge at F.E. Warren Air Force Base. President Donald Trump last week nominated State Senator Darren Smith, a Republican in Cheyenne, to serve as the U.S. Attorney for the District of Wyoming. Smith was elected to his seat in the state Senate in 2024 after an endorsement from Trump. His top three legislative priorities while campaigning were to reduce property taxes, protect Wyoming's industries, especially coal, from federal overreach, and enhance parental rights and school choice. 8 Wyoming newspapers closed abruptly Wednesday morning following the sudden closure of their parent company, News Media Corporation. The company announced the closure via an internal letter, leaving former employees jobless without health care or a clear compensation plan, effective immediately. This includes papers in Torrington, Wheatland, Guernsey, Lusk, Pinedale, Kemmerer, Evanston, and Lyman. And finally, after listening to nearly 4 hours of heated public comment, Laramie County Commissioners adopted a new set of land use regulations Tuesday. Hundreds of concerned community members gathered into the historic courthouse to share their opinions in the latest chapter of the long-running discussion of land use regulations. That's all for this week's episode of Wyoming Watch. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to check back next Friday for more.